Today is June 28th and it is compost harvesting day. And students, I wanted to share with you how I now begin to use this compost to feed the plants that are already growing and about. A lot of them are actually fruiting or flowering. And so what I come in to do is get compost to feed them. So this is the leaves from the fall and the grass from the spring. And I begin to dig these out and use them to feed the plants. As you can see already, we have plenty going on. We have a lot going on, and I'll show you what's going on. These are squash. Some are squash, and they are just like sitting right next to the compost. So when it rains, they get their first dips of food. This is organic food. All right, so we have them flowering, and hopefully I should get some squash very shortly. There's another one of them. See how healthy they are? And trust me, these have not had any fertilizer. Again, it's just the amount of compost from the dead leaves, the dead grass. It's another squash right here. I grew one over there which is still growing, so I have like some, but you can see them coming up. So I'm gonna go ahead and dig some compost today and use them to feed all the plants. So this is another feeding of compost as the plants begin to flower. Okay, because the whole point is to feed it organic matter so it can use that energy or food source to put into crop production. So that's what I'm doing today. Adding a second feeding. Remember, we fed this at the beginning when I planted them. So as they begin to bud and bear fruit, I give them another feed, because this is what they'll need to go into production. Now, I have a story with the peppers. It's funny because I have all my Guinean gardening buddies, and I introduced them to gardening, and they kind of fell in love with it. And every year we kind of work through this whole getting food on our own by planting our peppers and stuff and tomatoes. And so one of my Guinean friends calls and she's like, "Ruth, my peppers are not growing. They're not growing. What's wrong?" And I go, "Well, what's wrong is the temperature. Because what happens is, again, during nighttime, temperatures dip. And when the temperatures dip, the peppers get mad. They get really, really upset." So that's what's happening. They refuse to grow. They refuse to grow. Now, I'm praying and hoping that as we enter into July, that they'll change their mind, because July is going to be hot, hopefully. And once the weather warms up, as I've been saying from the beginning, the peppers will go crazy. Right now, they're beginning to flower, but they're not doing much. And that's what my friend here was saying. "Ruth, what's going on? My peppers are not growing. And it's funny, she's been doing this for quite a while and not observing that it's only when the weather is not cooperating that the peppers misbehave. uh, Let me tell you another funny story. Oh, you'd cry for me. But one day the rains really came down. The rains poured. And when the rains pour, we have what we call slugs. Maybe I'll walk around and see if I can show you a couple of slugs. And the slugs came in and they were just chomping. You notice they have like holes in the peppers and stuff. Yep, that's the work of slugs. They kind of climb. They're like snails. They climb all over the plant and they eat it. So my mother-in-law was like, why? So I have this brilliant idea, Guess what? I think salt can deter these slugs. Because when you pour salt on the slugs, they melt. Right before your eyes, they melt. So I'm like, yeah, maybe we should get salt. So she was so excited. She went to get like a whole bottle of salt and she poured it all around the plants and over the slugs, and she's excited, like, yay, they're melting. And that excitement. So I ran home and I do a little quick search. When you sow the earth, they destroy the plants. At least it's not the most effective way to do that. Protect against slugs. And what happens was the next day we rise and show up in the garden. Guess what's going on? All my eggplants, my garden eggs, are dead. Gone. Gone. They went to heaven. So now I don't have any more garden eggs. That's my story. But all is well. Maybe one of these days, Adukroman Foundation need to just show up and eat garden eggs where it's sourced in Ghana. So, students, that's what's going on. Slugs or no slugs, feeding what's left. We have to put nutrition back in there into the soil, because if you're going to get a lot of stuff, it's just going to be how you fed your plant, how you nurtured them, how you took good care of them, right? Input equals to output. But I just wanted to show you that it's time to start feeding the plants again as they flower with the compost that we made from the grass and everything else. All right, and then once I'm done feeding them with the compost from the grass and everything, I will show you how the tomatoes are doing. The tomatoes are happy, excited. All right, I'll show you in a moment. I wanted to show you slugs. These are slugs, and they like to feed on everything. Your peppers, I guess I can't focus this one to show you one right underneath this leaf. Right here. Focus. You see it? Yeah, those are terrors. They feed on everything you grow. So they eat peppers. They come out in mass when it rains, and they destroy everything. And when you put salt on them, they melt. And we thought, oh, it's a great idea to kill them that way. Bad idea. They killed the peppers. They actually killed the garden eggs. So I thought I'd show you where we are right now with the garden. The tomatoes are doing fantastic. Like, they're very healthy. they are producing like crazy, as you can tell. These are a type called San Marzano from Italy. So they are doing very well. You can go around. And remember, these were the ones that kind of died with the frost, but are now doing extremely well with their feeding of compost. And as you can tell, I shred paper, so as we go about our days, we get like mail and newspapers and stuff like that. I shred them and I put them underneath, because this is what happens. Worms gather underneath it and they poop. And the worm casting is the best, one of the best fertilizers. So all around, you're just using nature itself to grow very healthy plants. Let me go around. I'm done feeding the peppers. You see them with compost. So again, it's the newspaper, the clippings, the fish heads, the everything that you can find. You see that other grass that we had for many mowings, along with the leaves or mulch, and as they break down, they feed it. So this one hasn't quite, show you. So there you go. They're all budding, but look at this one. It's just prolific and healthy. What we have here is Epsom salt to give it magnesium, so as it fruits, it has that available nutrient to help with forming the tomato fruit. Yes, tomatoes are fruits. So I dumped like a bunch of compost here. The rains will feed it. But you see another type of tomato. It's called opalka. I love opalka. It is so delicious. So, yeah, that's where we are. The tomatoes are healthy. They are producing prolifically. I can't even begin to tell you. And you can go all around, and they're all doing the same thing. The peppers were the ones that I struggle with because the weather drops, like I've been complaining since the beginning. So they're not doing as well. Those are the cabbage and the tomatoes. Doing fantastic. Phenomenal. And what thing I wanted to show you that you can do, or at least I've been doing, is I pluck the suckers. The suckers, so here's a sucker, for example, okay? Within this branch is a sucker. What I do with the sucker is I take it out and give this one a chance to do extremely well. So, guess what? See another sucker right here. And clip it. What do you do with suckers? Get more tomatoes. So you can use the suckers, you can stick them right in the ground like that, and like that, and guess what will happen? They will germinate roots. Okay, so they'll build roots, and with the roots you can have more tomatoes, and once they get big, I move them to another place, so you get more tomatoes without starting scratch from seed. Look at this one. They're so huge. It's doing very well. It's spitting out flowers left, right, and center. And doing fantastic. I don't know if I can show you, just like the other ones. Yeah. Oh, not you, leafy leaf. So you see a lot of tomatoes. I'm going to get a lot of tomatoes this year. But I just wanted to show you that It's all from this compost that I built that's slowly breaking down as the weather warms up. And no fertilizer, none whatsoever, but you use what nature gives you abundantly all around you. Those are the cabbages. Look at them, so cute. And yeah, that's where we are. Now this stuff on the ground is so expensive, called creeping jennies. Now creeping jennies, when you go to the store to buy them, are very expensive. So one day I just had the idea, just plant them on the ground. And I did, and they're spreading, so I never have to buy them again. But they're very, very nice for container gardening. So this is where we are. I thought I'll do a compost feeding today and do a video of the tomatoes and the garden and share what Adukroman Foundation is doing, and hope every household in Adukroman will do to fight inflation and fight hunger, because you can grow your own stuff. You can grow everything. You can grow contumely, you can grow garden eggs right in your backyard. You don't have to like walk for miles. Just get a little land in your backyard and go at it. It's my mom-in-law gardening with me. She's so helpful. All right, everybody. Yeah, that was an empty bucket from my compost. Going around. Like I use the suckers, so I have like tomatoes everywhere. Now that's a cucumber. That is a flowering cucumber, so I hope it's gonna give me a lot. Again, newspapers all around. Shredded paper. That was the story of my okra. Oh, yeah, the heat-loving stuff are just where they are till the heat really kicks in. Well, sunflowers. This year, I decided to grow morning glory. I guess they like heat too. More tomatoes. Here's the garden with my mother-in-law helping me water. All right, so Adukroman Foundation is happy again to do this journey with you. That is most cash. And I wanted to take you along so you see what's going on in the garden. Take good care, students. Take good care, everybody. Have a super fantastic, fabulous day.